Gross man moment. Gross man moment. So I'm walking down the street wearing this. This is my skirt. It's kind of short, not gonna lie, but I got it at a thrift store, okay? And so I approach this intersection and there's this guy on like a fucking mower or something like that. I was like, what is he riding? And he's like, you can cross. And so I cross the street and I look over my shoulder to look at the weird ass vehicle that he's riding, and he's on the mower and he's looking back at me. And I'm like, okay. So you saw the short skirt. Now get on your fucking way.
While I'm on the topic of emasculation of men, I remembered something that I read in the book The Queen's Code by Alison Armstrong. Now, I've referred to this book in the past. It's amazing. And if any women out there haven't read it, I do recommend it. It's called The Queen's Code by Alison Armstrong. It is eye-opening and very good. But she said something along the lines that emasculation of men by women could be equated to the same type of thing as men objectifying women. Now, women absolutely hate being objectified by men, being treated like meat or just being, used for their body or whatever it is. Women hate it, right? So then on the flip side, we as women do the same thing in a different way to men. We emasculate them and make them feel less than a man. And that's what men do when men objectify women. They make women feel less than a woman. They make her feel only important for her body and her looks, whereas she's a lot more than that. But we as women do that too. So something to think about. It's really stuck with me.
I'm sure I'm going to get roasted for this opinion, but I don't want to be treated like an object by a man, right? I don't want him to control me. I don't want him to just use me for sex. I want to be the high-value woman that I am, if you will, right? I bring a lot to the table. But that means that I can't just treat a guy like an ATM. That is also objectifying a man. He's just worth his money. I feel like so many women view men as just straight-up ATMs. Now, maybe it's different if you have a child and they need to earn a certain amount, whatever. You do you. But for me, I'm totally cool with being like 50-50. Like, yeah, let's say he earns a little bit more and he pays a little bit more of the bills, whatever. But it's a partnership. My partner is not an ATM. That's also an object, and I'm not an object, right? I don't want objectified. I don't want it to be a transaction. Hey, you give me money and I have sex with you, right? Like, not in my marriage. That's not what I'm looking for. So I feel like this needs to be said. Feel free to disagree with me, but just for my life, that's how I feel.
From the moment I wake in the morning to when I fall asleep at night, I'm objectifying men, and it feels fucking good. When you've been objectified your whole life, when your entire existence as a woman has been reduced down to tits and ass, being a whole, oh, I'll do that to men. I'll do that to men, no fucking question. And it's fun. Because guess what? They like it. They like it. Y'all are some whores. We are dealing with S-tier harlots on our hands. You're gonna get into Call of Duty cosplay? Stolen valor, by the way. You're not in the fucking military. You're gonna parade around that slutty little waist and do hand reveals? What are we in fucking 1841, dude? Ankle reveal? Huh? Arm vein reveal. And guess what? Like, save. Neck vein reveal. Like, save, download the phone. Okay.
To raise our fists in fury over the objectification of women. How do you guys feel? Do you feel it's like equal opportunity? Do sometimes you kind of feel like there is such a thing for you guys as well?
Like, a funny story about that is when I actually got the job, my mother and my father were just like absolutely over the moon. I'm getting paid to travel the world with an awesome show. And my sister says to me, in front of my mum and dad, would you be just as happy about this if I was a stripper in Las Vegas? And they
yes,
said, hell
well
no.
done, sister.
And she said, well, why's that? It's different, you know?
Yeah. Why do you think it's different?
Well, it's not really different. It's just society, I guess.
Yeah, well, I guess that's it, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, I've thought about it during shows where kind of you do feel like, you know, you're not showing respect because there's obviously, he's just a stripper, he's just a piece of meat. But at the end of the day, I know my worth, so I kind of go home still feeling good. But Yeah, there's to an extent, but I don't think the stigma is the same as if it was,
Yeah,
female
because if
stripping.
you say as a guy I'm a stripper, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, that's interesting. And I think if you said I'm a woman and I'm a stripper, suddenly that person's opinion of you as just a person, I think, drops a little bit, where they put you on a lower level.
It's sad to say, yes, we are definitely approaching a point of being overly sensitive to irrelevant matters. It feels like we derive joy in making a mountain out of a molehill. The other day, I saw a Reddit post about a woman expressing her obsession over her husband's penis, and a few men commented that she was sexually objectifying her man. They even accused her of being a man because normally no woman would publicly talk about her sexuality in the vile and obnoxious way she described her love for a penis. However, 80% of men who commented on the post said otherwise. They expressed how lucky her husband was to have a woman who could confess and appreciate his manhood and wished their women did the same. On the other hand, most women agreed they have a similar obsession with their male partner's penis and that their partners don't feel objectified at all. Most men see penis worshipping as an ego boost. They like hearing women express their feelings for sex without shame. It gives men confidence to know they are the perfect fit for their women in the bedroom. What's interesting is that women feel differently when their men obsess over their breasts or vagina. A male sexual coach once said, if the man isn't chasing the woman around every day for sex, then there is something wrong with him. And I agree. But some women think the man must be sick if he's asking for sex every day. The truth is, when you love someone, their private part becomes more enticing and your obsession for them develops almost immediately. You treat their private part special because that is what stimulates your testosterone and gives you euphoric pleasure. But when there's no love, their partner becomes unattractive and just a regular part of the body. Sexual objectification, separating people's sexual body parts or functions from the entire person, reducing them to instruments, and regarding them as capable of representing the entire person. When the Game of Thrones star, Calvin Harrison revealed his dehumanizing experience whenever his art is set aside for his sex appeal, Jezebel News shut him up with a post they published on their site, "Shut your pretty little wine hole, Jon Snow," saying no one cares if he's objectified because women have it worse. Sadly, we ignore male sexual objection but prosecute men who objectify women. Objectification is as dehumanizing for women as it is for men. Yet, we expect men to man up and shut up when they are objectified, so they do just that. Women have been the primary focus of objectification, particularly in mass media, while that of men has been ignored. Even worse, normalized. Occasionally, we see advertisements of men who are clad in their underwear selling products in the hopes of appealing to women. However, the impact of objectification between men and women is vastly different. Men can only experience objectification on the individual level, but the objectification of women operates in a structural and systematic context. It's important to emphasize that objectification for men isn't the same as it is for women because of the power dynamics between both genders. Because we live within a power structure where male supremacy reigns, objectification of men shows strength and dominance.
We call them crowd runs. So in my crowd run, try to get to as many people as we can. We try not to stay located in any one area too long, just so everyone gets the maximum Chippendales experience.
And do you enjoy that?
I love it.
Do you enjoy the touching?
I do enjoy the touching, but it's mostly because it's not so much the touching itself, it's people are having fun, you see, again, it's cheeky, but you see the brightness in their eyes, and you see they're smiling, they're laughing, they're giggling, you walk away, they giggle with their friends, it's more the joy that is created from it rather than the actual sensation itself.
Would you say it makes you feel empowered down, or it doesn't make you feel belittled.
But the big difference here is that, you know, I know what this job is. I willingly show up to work every day, so it's not a surprise. It's not getting, you know, catcalled on the street, maybe something unwanted. So it's not belittling to me because it's voluntary.
According to Slate, when it comes to coverage of male soccer, sexual objectification is the icing, not the cake. In contrast, female objectification shows a lack of autonomy. When women are objectified, it signifies ownership, lack of boundaries, and low self-worth. For centuries, womanhood has been a symbol of weakness. Therefore, objectification disempowers women. They get raped, beaten, and killed. A poll conducted on job seekers found that men's physical appearance was a bonus to their qualification, while women's physical appearance was all the qualification needed to secure a job. Being seen or treated as an object can have a profound impact on a person's psyche. This robs a person of their humanity. This affects a person's self-esteem, and they can also develop destructive habits that involve substance abuse and self-harm. Men can argue all they want that they are not masters of their own destiny and are subject to the same objectification imperatives as women, but we know this is far from the truth. To be treated as an object can have profound effects on one's mental health. It can destroy a person's humanity, affect their self-esteem, and more likely to develop destructive habits involving substance abuse and self-harm. As much as men argue that they do not have agency over their bodies and are obliged to succumb to the imperatives of objectification just like women, we know that is far from reality. Objectification reduces an individual to a mere object with no agency over their body. It can be wonderful in our sexual life. Sex comes with a price. And sexual desire and objectification are inseparable. Sex doesn't just make us objectify our partners. It also makes us objectify ourselves. In order to satiate our sexual hunger, we cheat, we deceive, and we pretend so the other person can find us attractive enough to have sex with us. When we love someone, we do everything we can to make a person happy. We go as far as objectifying ourselves and our partners. For example, in BDSM sex, every aspect of the sexual practices is objectifying, and yet, these participants do not feel sexually objectified. They derive pleasure in submitting their body to the dominant partner. My affair with a French soldier showed me how far we go to sexualize our bodies and objectify our partners in a moment of ecstasy. While at dinner, my mind was lost in images of his bedroom prowess. I was civil throughout our conservative, but my head was imagining how much his manhood would rock me in the sanctuary of his room. When we finally had sex, it was pure heaven. Because my head was already lost in his body before he entered my inner bits. I surrendered to the pleasure. He treated me with respect as he devoured every inch of my body. Just as I did his. When we put sexual attractiveness above all other traits with everyone we meet, we fail to build real connections with them. Maybe this is why casual sex is trending nowadays. We treat people as objects of our pleasure when our only interest in them is sex. As humans, the power of sexual urges and our capacity to divert from doing what is right can be a challenge. In other words, we tend to reduce the bodies of those we sexually desire as mere objects. Also, certain jobs like cleaning, teaching, and gardening are beneficiaries of objectification. The same goes for the service recipients, as their money is a tool for the service provider. So as dangerous as objectification is, we can see it's not always about violence. When we use people as a means to sexual pleasure, that is objectification.
Just because a man is flamboyant or showcases feminine traits, feminine quality, doesn't mean, one, that they're giving you power to yesify them, to honey them. Sometimes when I'm out in the streets, I see some ladies that just be like, yes, queen, yes, girl. And I'm like, that's not how I conduct myself. I didn't give you permission to yesify me. Not everybody needs to be yesified. Some of us conduct ourselves with class, with manners, education, knowledge, you name it. And don't get it wrong. Yes, you can, yes, queen, yes, honey, yesify me all you want if I give you permission, if we're friends. Just because you see me out in the streets giving you everything, honey, everything you want and need, and giving you life, doesn't mean I'm giving you permission to yesify me, honey. No. You can be like, oh, you look great. Oh, you look nice. Doesn't mean I want you to be like, yes, yes, queen. And that has happened lots of times. Don't get me wrong, honey. I love attention and I am the queen of confidence. But some of us don't want to be yesified. You know? Some of us conduct ourselves with class, manners, and education, darling.
If you like this video and want to support my channel, please like, subscribe and click the bell icon before you leave. See you next time.